Okay, so more Omoplata game. We finished off Spider Guard last week. We are going to look at Omoplata setups from the Lasso Guard. Again, you have three ways of playing Lasso. Okay, I can play it shallow, which means, there's not a perfect way to play the Lasso Guard. Anytime you're shallow, it just means I can disengage this foot very, very quickly. We can play it slightly deeper with our foot kind of more under the tricep, or I can go deeper again, whereby my foot is underneath Tyrone's lat. I will shoot vids on each one of those on another time. But let's just go back to shallow. Okay, so number one is if Tyrone hasn't got a pulled this elbow back to his body. So this is still kind of straight from this. All I'm going to do is take out the lasso. And as I take out the lasso, I'm pulling his wrist to my hip. And now my leg is going to chop across. When we looked when we were playing the Omoplata game, really for me, to get the Omoplata, I need angle. In other words, I need Tyrone. If Tyrone starts to move that way, that can make me get the Omoplata, because he's giving me the angle. We then looked at, if I didn't get the angle, I could create an angle by switching the collar and sleeve, and then pushing on the thigh and nav angle, which will give me the Omoplata. But another thing I can be doing from this shallow lasso is from there I can threaten a submission or put Tyrone's arm in discomfort, which means he has to bend it, which again gives me angle. So from there, if his arm is sort of half straight and he hasn't pulled tight to his body, I just disengage the shallow lasso, pull this to my hip, and now it is straight. And with the inside of my left leg, I'm going to whack it towards his arm. You can't see it in the vid, but there's submission pressure on there, and he gets a sudden urge to bend his arm. And when he does, we're straight up into the Omoplata. And again, from there, we will be finishing as normal. Just one more angle on that, just here on this side, bro. So, just from sleeve control, I have a shallow lasso in. If his arm is sort of, he hasn't been pulled tight, we're looking in a minute if it is tight. So you just disengage the shallow lasso, pull this to my hip, and I just sort of whack this on. And now when he bends his arm, that gives me the Omoplata. Let's look at it. He pulls his arm in tight, which a lot of people will do. Okay, so it's another response. So from our shallow lasso, we're here, only this time he's pulled his arm in tight, okay? So from there, I'm just going to take out the lasso, and I'm going to turn on my hip, and I bring my knee, so it's made a wedge on the inside, or sorry, at the back of Tyrone's right elbow. You notice I'm on my right hip. From there, all I'm going to do is hip escape from my right hip to my left hip, and that in itself gives me angle again. So again, from there, I use Tyrone as a base. If I feel I'm too far forward, I can butt scoot back. Again, putting tension in that arm. And I lean forward. One more time on that, bro. Just from this side. So from sleeve control, feet on hips guard, I have a shallow lasso, and now he's aware of the threat of the Omoplata, and he pulls it in tight. He'll not get it all the way to his right hip, because I've got sleeve control and I can kind of pull it out a little bit. All I need to do is I turn onto my right hip, I take out the shallow lasso, and I bring my knee to make a wedge at the back of his elbow. Okay? Now the hip escape is what creates the space for me to get his elbow away from his body. So if you notice from here on my right hip, watch what happens when I hip escape on my left hip. His elbow will come away, and that gives me angle as I push this into the hip, and now we're straight up into our Omoplata again. And that is our Omoplata setups from the shallow lasso.